we give advice to new loan officers and people looking to become loan officers and give you an idea of what it takes and how great of a high paying career that it is. And we talk to different realtors, top producing loan officers and mortgage executives to give tips to new loan officers or loan officers who want to grow their business. That way you can get out there and expand your knowledge and your client base. So today's topic is going to be from zero to your first deal. So what does it really take to become a loan officer? So if you haven't been licensed yet, or if you just got licensed, this topic is really for you. So what are you getting into when you become a loan officer? Well, for most of us, that means it's a commission only position. And so, you kind of have to have the right mind state for a commission only position. It is a amazing remote, typically it's remote work on your own schedule, but it obviously is difficult and commission based. And anytime something's commission based, you need to really have a strong mindset of going into it knowing that it's going to take some time to get paid, and you're going to have to work for every dollar that you earn. And I think that's an important part of going into this business, is knowing that there are no freebies. And unless you're going to take, a salary position somewhere, that's not really typically what we do, right? So the typical loan officer is someone who is working on commission, who is working on their own schedule, who is working remote, especially nowadays. So it's very important to be ready for what's coming, which is a lot of hard work, right? So, if there's one thing that's different about mortgage sales from other types of sales, is that it takes quite a while for our sales cycle to complete. So if you're selling cars, for example, you're typically going to sell it to the person before they walk off the lot or shortly thereafter. You're going to complete the transaction and it's going to be closed. With a loan for a home, it typically is going to take about 30 days to close the transaction. And so we have a much longer sales cycle. Now, it can be even longer. Let's say you're getting somebody pre-approved and you give them a pre-approval letter. Well, the time from when you give them that pre-approval letter to the time that you close the loan could be, infinite, or could be never, could be months, because they're going to take that pre-approval. They're going to go out and look for a home. Once they get that home, then you're going to have to actually qualify them based on that exact home and then do the loan and then, wait 20, 30 days for it to close. So this can be a very long cycle. So that's something we have to keep in mind when we're doing mortgages, is that it's not a get rich quick thing. It's not I made a sale today, so, I'm going to get paid tomorrow, right? That's not really how it works. Now, one of the amazing things about our team at newmlo.com, if you join our team as a loan officer, once you close the loan, you actually do get paid the next day. Now, most companies will take maybe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 weeks to pay you once a loan is closed. At our team, newmlo.com, you actually get paid the very next day after the loan closes, and you get all the paperwork turned into accounting. So that's definitely amazing, but the industry standard is at least going to be a couple weeks, and sometimes even up to 6 weeks to get paid. So you have a time between when you're quote unquote making the sale, of getting the customer to fill out their application, getting them approved, and even once you get them approved, there's that time where the loan has to go through the process, it has to close. And then again, a lot of companies, you have to wait quite a while to get paid. Not at our company, but at a lot of companies, you do have to wait a while to get paid after that. So in essence, it is not a instant reward, instant gratification business. This is something that's going to take time, and it's something where deals are going to fall apart, right? So, it takes a lot of discipline to keep going. So let's talk about your first 90 days as a loan officer. So in your first 90 days, obviously your goal is to get as many deals as possible, right? Get as many people as you can in the pipeline, because again, it's going to take you time to close those loans. So especially in your first 90 days, we need to be going as hard as we can to get those deals in the pipeline so that they can start closing when we're in our second month, our third month, our fourth month. That's when we want the deals to actually be closing and money to be going into our pocket. So in your first 90 days, obviously the first stop when you get your license and you onboard with a company is to let your sphere know, to let everybody know this is what you do. You're a loan officer. You can do their loan. You have all different kinds of loan programs, assuming that you join, a team like ours where we have thousands of loan programs, and let them know that you can help them out with that. You should be emailing, calling, texting, and make sure that everybody knows what you do. And then the second thing is to move on to, leads. Now, on our team, we provide our loan officers with leads. So it's a great way to get up and running, especially if you're new, to get reps in, to get some leads in your pipeline. But if you're not here on our team, the important thing is to get some kind of leads going. And that could be buying leads. It could be doing advertising to get your own leads. It could be, going to events to pick up leads. At the end of the day, that's kind of the second step, right? Typically, you're going to want to work your sphere, let everybody know what you're doing. Those are the easiest, right? Those are the low-hanging fruit, are the people that you know that already trust you, or people that they know, right? Make sure to let everybody know, hey, I'm a loan officer. Not only can I help you, but please, if you hear anybody talking about wanting to buy a home or anything, please refer me. And those are great too. Referrals are great because there's a amount of trust built there from the beginning because they were referred by somebody that they know. So those are typically the two things you're going to do in your first 30 days is right away, let everyone know what you do, and then, start reaching out to other leads that are outside of your database, because what we want to try to do is get some applications in the first 30 days, right? We want to get some applications within the first 30 days. So that way in the second month and in the third month, we're actually closing those loans and getting paid. So in order to get some applications in our first 30 days, we're going to definitely need to let everyone we've ever met know that this is what we're doing and see if we can help them out. And then we're going to have to reach out to some other people. So whether that's, leads, if you're on our team, leads that we give you, whether it's leads that another company provides, leads that you buy, leads that you get yourself, whatever it is, you're going to have to start reaching out to other people, and building that pipeline more, because just your sphere is probably not going to ignite multiple applications in your first month. Letting your sphere know is going to build your business over time, because everybody that they may not be looking to buy a house right now or to refinance right now, but you got to plant those seeds and let them know. So when it's time, they do come to you to do that. So first 90 days, really important. Those first 30 days, we're going to try to get deals. Those first, that second month and that third month, we're going to be following up on all those leads that we have, following up with the people that had interest. And we're going to, most importantly, be closing the loans that we got applications for, back in that first month. So my biggest advice to new loan officers is really go above and beyond in contacting leads that first month, because what you want to do is start closing loans in your second month. That's what's going to keep you going in this industry. That's what's going to get you paid so that you can continue in this industry. I know some people do this part-time, but if you're full-time and you're going into this full-time and you're going to be, waiting to get paid to put food on the table, you don't want to be waiting 90, 120 days to actually start closing deals. So in order to do that, you got to get up and running in your first 30 days. You've got to contact enough people to actually get some applications in that first 30 days, because out of, maybe you get 3 applications and one of them ends up closing. So that second month, you're getting your first check because you got the deal in the application in that first month. Typically takes about a month to close a loan, and boom, you got your first sale in that second month. You're up and running. You got some money in your pocket. You got some experience under you, and you're ready to go. So the first 30 days is, extremely important as a loan officer, because you're really, you're building that pipeline, right? And that is what's going to, keep you going. Now, you have to be realistic as a loan officer, especially in the beginning. So those first 90 days, you got to understand, if you're coming into this business, that, it's going to take some time for the income to really start building up and flowing. So if, your first 90 days, you're not able to survive because you're doing this full time and, you left another position, that's something you really got to, consider, because it's going to take some time to build up that consistent income. So hopefully you get some applications in your first month. And then that way you're closing some deals in your second month and got some money in your pocket. But beware that it can take longer. And to really get that multi six figure income, that builds up over time of having relationships, referrals, and most importantly, having a large pipeline of the people who were in your sphere, as well as people that were not in your sphere, leads or whatever it is that you're getting business. And then, of course, referrals, right? Which is the largest source of income for experienced loan officers, is referrals. And if you can build your pipeline large enough, if you can get enough clients and repeat business and ask everyone for referrals, typically a veteran experienced loan officer isn't usually calling a bunch of leads. They're typically just dealing with the people who are referring them deals, especially if they have great realtor relationships. Those are the gift that keeps on giving, is the realtor relationships that send you people to pre-qualify. So obviously you're getting licensed, right? Take your exam. If you don't have your license yet, you can go to newmlo.com. We actually can walk you through the process of getting your license at newmlo.com. But let's say you're a new loan officer, you get your license, you join your company, you get onboarded. So now it's time to actually start doing things. So getting your first deal, obviously, realtor relationships are important. Your family and friends are important. Online leads, like we give you on our team. And really, the important thing is to be calling people and creating action, because action is going to create experience and it's going to get some things going. And, you might not have a sale in your first month, but in that first month, you might have contacted a few people that are going to become your first sales. And so it's extremely important. Even if you think it's not working, make sure that you're contacting, everyone. You never know who is going to end up being not only your sales, but also your referrals. Because there's people that some of my loan officers have worked with that they never ended up doing a loan through them. So I'm talking about a lead here, right? So we give a lead to one of our loan officers, they call them, that person never ends up working with them, but they refer them to someone else. And they say, yeah, actually, I have a friend who's talking about buying a house. I'll let him know your name, especially if you come off professional, if you're following up consistently, then when they're talking to other people, they say, there's this loan officer who always calls me. They're really nice. They're always helpful. You should give them a call. Here's their number, right? So that's literally happened multiple times. And I'm not talking about friends and family. I'm talking about these are online leads that our loan officers called that, if they follow up, if they're professional, then they end up getting referrals from people who never did a loan from them. So you call that lead never actually did a loan with you, but they end up referring in a loan or two. One person I remember referred 3 loans in. Well, really they referred one, but then that person had another 2 referrals. So, it's to the second degree, right, of referrals. So you never know who you're talking to. That's why it's important to make calls. It's important to not, hang up on people. It's important to not be turned off when people say they can't do it, or, they're not looking right now. Every single call is an opportunity for us to make a sale, whether that's to the person that's on the phone or somebody that person knows. Super important there is to take advantage of referrals, even with people you don't know. It could be an online lead. Maybe they're not ready, but they may know somebody. Be nice, be professional, follow up consistently. And if you're doing that, if you're doing the correct things on a daily basis, then the success is going to come. All right, well, I like to open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, you can always send us a DM at the new MLO Show on all the different platforms. We also stream this live, so you can drop any questions you have there. Remember, if you're looking to get your mortgage license, we can walk you through that process at newmlo.com and then bring you on board. If you're already licensed and you're looking to join a team that has the best rates, the most programs, and provides you with leads, go to newmlo.com and sign up to join our team. Okay, I'll take some questions that have came in here. Looks like there's a question from James. How long does it typically take to start making money as a new loan officer? Yeah, so making money as a new loan officer does take some time because hopefully you're going to get some applications in that first month and then close them that second month. But I'll tell you, that's not really typical. A lot of people don't get applications their first month, but I'll tell you that those are the people that aren't making the calls. If you're calling and texting and emailing everybody in your sphere, letting them know this is what you do, if you are calling leads like the leads that we give to our team, and you're consistently calling them, you're following up, you're doing what you need to do, you should have some applications in your first month. But again, that's not typical because a lot of people don't do what they need to do to make that happen. But if you are gun ho, you're ready to go, you're going to put in that work, then I would expect you to get a couple applications your first month, especially if you're on our team receiving our leads. You should get a few applications your first month, and you should be closing at least one of them in your second month. Now, does everybody do that? No. Is it possible? Absolutely. And the people who really put in the work do it. And this is a business where it's commission only. So if you're not putting in the work, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how many months or years you're in this business. If you're not putting in the work, you're not going to make the commission. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's a difficult job. That's why we get paid so well, right? Okay, question here from Samantha. Is the SAFE exam actually hard or do people just overhype it? Um, I think I don't think it was hard. For me, it was harder than, for me, it was easier than the real estate exam, right? Because I got my real estate license as well before I got my mortgage license. And to me, the mortgage license test was easier. And that's probably not the same for everybody. But to me, it was a little bit easier. I don't think it's that difficult. I mean, I've dealt with thousands of loan officers who have passed the test, and not too many of them have said, "Wow, that was so hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done." As long as you go through your NMLS school and the partner school that we work with, if you get your license at newmlo.com, the partner school that we work with is great, and they walk you through everything. We walk you through the licensing process as well, as far as like your application and dealing with the state and the agencies and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's too hard to get licensed. You can do that at newmlo.com. I think as long as take a good school like our partner school, and as long as you study, I think it's pretty easy to pass it. Again, I thought it was easier than the real estate exam. When I was I got my Florida real estate license, then I got my Florida mortgage loan originator license, and I did find the mortgage test easier than the real estate test. Okay, Eric is asking, can I do this part-time while I keep my job? Yeah, absolutely. So on our team, you can be a loan officer part-time while you keep your job. And it's actually something I would recommend if you don't have the runway to be able to survive a couple months without income, right? Because if you switch to a full-time loan officer, again, it's going to take you a couple months to get deals going, right? You're going to need some time to get some applications in, and then it takes a month for those loans to close. And then you might have to wait to get paid. Now, on our team, we pay you the next day, which is amazing. But if you're joining other companies, it could take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even up to 6 weeks to get paid. So this is absolutely something you can start part-time. Also on our team, we provide unmatched support so that you can actually have someone there walking you through everything, which is very important if you're new. So yes, you can start part-time, and when you start closing deals, you can move into full-time. However, I will say that even if you're part-time, you need to make sure that you're in a position where you're available, right? Because you can't be not available for clients when things are happening, meaning especially like a closing, the realtor's calling you because something's wrong at the closing or this or that. There's things that are time sensitive. So if your other job is something that doesn't allow you access to your phone or email or anything all day, then that's going to be a problem, right? This business doesn't just turn on and off when you decide to start working because you're part-time. So just keep that in mind. But yes, very common for people to start part-time, get going, get learning, get some deals under their belt, and then when they feel comfortable, switch to full-time. All right. Chris is asking, do I need sales experience to succeed in mortgage? No, I don't think you need sales experience, but it is a sales job. Some people get a little caught up in the back end of us doing loans and using the loan origination software and working with the processor and underwriter to push the loans through. That all happens on the back end as well. But our first and foremost job is to sell, is to be a salesperson, is to call leads, it's to talk to people, to get referrals and get them to put in applications and then walk them through the sales process. So it is a sales job. However, you don't need sales experience for it, and you don't need any experience. I mean, one of the things that's great about being a loan officer is the only qualification is that you have to have a high school diploma and have passed the test, right? You have a high school diploma, then go to newmlo.com, take the course, pass the test, join our team. You're up and running. You got a mentor, you got leads to call. And so, it is a sales job, and that's why we provide you with the leads to call. So you don't need experience, but you do need to be ready to make sales and make calls. Excuse me. Let's see. Mark is asking, how much money should I have saved before getting licensed? Well, it depends if you want to be full-time or part-time, right? If you're going to be part-time, then I wouldn't worry about it at all. And that way you can make, income part-time while you're waiting to be full-time. But if you're going to cold turkey switch, quit your other job and switch to being a loan officer, I would say 90 days of padding is a good thing to have, because again, you're going to want to get those loans going in that first month, and then they'll start closing in that second or third month. But this is something that you're going to have to do. It's not just going to come to you, right? You're going to have to be on the phone, making calls every day, talking to people. Okay. Danielle's asking, how do I get realtor partners if I don't know any yet? Well, the great thing about, finding realtors to work with is that not only can you do it online, there's all kinds of directories of realtors and stuff, so that you have access to them all online, their emails, their phone numbers, all that kind of good stuff. But also the great thing about realtors is that you can meet them in person. So there's not really like events you can go to meet a bunch of clients in person necessarily. Obviously, any event you go to, any place you go to, you could meet clients. But with realtors, it's great because you can go to events. I mean, I would go to Eventbrite, I would type in real estate events or realtor events, and every city has a bunch going on. A bunch of them are free a lot of the times, like a real estate happy hour or lunch and learn or a mixer or whatever it is. And you can go there and just talk to people and meet people. That's what's so great about building realtor relationships, is there's places where you can literally find them. And going to Eventbrite or any event website and looking for real estate events and going to them is a very easy way to accomplish that. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll take one more question here. Is it worth becoming a loan officer in this rate market? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's worth becoming a loan officer in any rate market. And keep in mind, rates are lower now than they've been in like 2 years or 4 years, I believe. So they're inching down. And so now is the best time to get into the business. You want to make sure you get your license and get trained and start calling some leads before the rates really go down, because that's when everybody makes the transactions. You don't want to be calling people after the rates went down. You want to be calling people before, so that you're their loan officer. So when the rates actually go down as much as they need to get that person to pull the trigger, you're there and you're the one that they're talking to. That's what you want. So yes, it's absolutely worth it to get your license right now. Right now is really the time. The time is now, because rates are inching down already. So don't be late on the movement. Get your license right now. Go to newmlo.com. We'll walk you through the licensing process. And that is important to do now, because you don't want to be playing catch up and trying to call people that have already been talked to by loan officers. You want to be top of mind when they say, oh, wow, rates went low enough to where I want to actually buy something, or I want to pull the trigger on this refinance I've been thinking about. You need to be there already, top of mind, talking to them, have maybe sent them quotes before. That is how you get the business. So if you want to get into the business, great business to be in, high paying, remote, on your own schedule. We do have the ability to be W-2 or 1099 here on our team. So go ahead. If you don't have your license yet, go to newmlo.com to get your license. If you're already licensed and you want to join our team so you can have better rates, better programs, and get leads from us, go to newmlo.com and sign up to join our team. So with that being said, we will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. We will see you on the next episode of the New MLO